1, 2, 3, 50! The Cajun has got my baby! The Cajun has got my baby!
Why, another person has gone missing. Well, that's twice in a fortnight.
It is 1895, and elsewhere in the world, the first motorized vehicles are beginning to take to the roads. Around New Orleans, Louisiana, however, people still travel by horse, bicycle, and boat. Our story begins on February 19th, 1895, the week before Mardi Gras. The weather was even warmer than usual for February, and all of New Orleans was in a fevered anticipation of the carnival.
Oh, cher, I am in a fevered anticipation of the carnival. Je pense I'm going to drink pink lemonade all day.
To the east of the city, where the bayou or boggy swamp begins, was a great big house called La Grande Maison, which means great big house in French. It was built in 1805 by a plantation owner, Monsieur Cheval I. Although the family had once been wealthy, they'd had to give up the plantation, and now the house, which overlooked the bayou on one side and had a grand entranceway from the road on the other, was slowly being reclaimed by the swamp, with thick vines and trees nearly covering the once grand entrance. When it would rain, and rain it did, it became impossible to leave by road, and only a boat could bring one back and forth. The owner, Monsieur Cheval, was a French Creole. Their family had been in Louisiana since before the Louisiana Purchase, and they were proud of their French Creole heritage. But being of bourgeois descent, it was a tradition in the family that all the men go to France to find their spouses. Therefore, Monsieur Cheval's wife, Anne-Thérèse, was a born and bred Parisian. She had a real reputation in New Orleans.
Oh, cher, did you hear what that French salope said to Charlotte? Have some more lemonade. She is a tyrant. No wonder her daughter has gone mad.
Monsieur and Madame Cheval had a daughter, Celeste. Celeste was a lovely young woman of 20. The people of society had begun to notice that Celeste no longer appeared at any events, and even the group of Cajuns, living down in the bayou, when they'd have some of their foot-stomping fiddle parties, had begun to talk about La Folle Celeste and the strange screams that one could hear echoing in the night. There were rumors that Celeste suffered from hysteria. Symptoms of hysteria include
faintness, nervousness, sexual desire, irritability, insomnia, loss of appetite, and a tendency to cause trouble.
Madame Anne-Thérèse had a cousin who lived in England, and she wrote to her. England is the only place to find a nurse who can deal with such a mysterious malady as hysteria. This one came from Yorkshire, where all the best governesses and nurses of the 19th century were from. And that is how Miss Jane came to step off the train. Let's stop New Orleans! 1 week before Mardi Gras. Bonjour to you, Mademoiselle Jane. I am Antoine, the Cheval chauffeur. Won't you please come with me? We have a long, long ways to go.
Thanking you kindly, sir. And where is La Grande Maison? I was made to understand it was in town.
Oh, no, no, cher. There is a house in New Orleans that they call the Rising Sun. But we ain't going there. No,
being taken to a house that was cut off from the rest of the world. But where there is madness, one usually finds a remote house. Let's go.
They reached La Grande Maison, where Madame Anne-Thérèse was waiting by the big front entrance.
Ah, at last! I've been waiting in this infernal humidity for so long. I hate this stupid country, with its large creatures and its people who can't speak a pure French meh. Antoine, go put your things in the room next to Celeste. Do you know much about La Nouvelle-Orléans, hein, Miss Jane?
No, Mum, I don't know much, but I gather it's very hot here all the time. I myself am used to the cold winds of the moors.
Oui, this doesn't interest me, actually. I don't like the English any more than I like the Cajuns and their variety of languages. And look, rule number one in my house, don't go learning any of the local Cajun from those fiddle-playing idiots who live in the swamp. If I could, I would send them back to Canada. And as for the Creoles around, look, I'm not trying to be racist. No, actually, I am.
Well, now, I'm not quite sure exactly...
Alors, about Celeste.
Ah, yes. I understand from your letter that she's had it.
Yes, she is suffering from the hysteria. She often cries, sometimes she faints, and on one occasion we found her running outside naked.
Oh, Ma'am, I am sorry to hear this. You've been keeping her locked up, of course.
Ah, yes, of course, in the attic. The doctors say that this affliction happens mostly to young, innocent women. He offered us a cure. He even gave us a pamphlet to read. He called it the hysterical paroxysm. He described it as a kind of intimate massage and no, I can't. Oh, it's terrible, no.
There. Now, I have often seen cases of hysteria. You mustn't worry yourself that it is complete madness, for it is often cured, though sometimes not. Perhaps I'd better not talk of my mother's friend Jane Rochester. There was that big fire and the terrible death. Anyway, please, let me go and see her.
And so they went upstairs to see Celeste. Then they came downstairs.
Dear God, it's worse than I imagined. Well, I'll start directly tomorrow.
That night, after they'd all dined on some spicy jambalaya that the cook Adelaide Malmiche had prepared, Miss Jane said goodnight and went to her room. There she found on her bed...
Oh, a pincushion. That's extraordinarily useful. How very kind.
And she went to sleep. She snored so deeply she didn't hear it when the rains started. The following morning, Miss Jane awoke to find that the house and grounds were surrounded by water, with the bayou seeming to be on all sides. All that could be seen were the creepers and trees and the many little eyes of many waterlogged creatures watching.
That's given me an idea. Water! Water is the cure!
And she burst into Celeste's room, dragged the sleeping girl out, down the stairs, past the vines, past the maid and Antoine having a romp behind a tree,
Oh, my Antoine, you animal!
past the cook, Adelaide Malmiche, who was cutting off a chicken's head, onto the dock, into the boat, rowed a ways into the bayou, and threw a sobbing Celeste into the water.
There, young lady, that should cure your hysteria. Now, swim back to the house. You can use that log for safety.
Mademoiselle Jane,
Cried the cook from the shore.
that there ain't no log, that's an alligator.
Miss Jane took a better look. And she took out a gun and shot the gator. This shocked Celeste into silence. She clambered into the boat, and they went back into the house, where she promptly removed her clothes and fainted. That evening, after supper, Miss Jane went for a walk. As she carefully made her way through the vines, squishing mosquitoes the size of small birds, she thought she heard some drums beating ominously in the distance. As she hurried back, she could hear footsteps behind her, catching up faster and faster. She quickly turned around and bumped straight into Adelaide Malmiche, the cook. The cook said,
Mademoiselle Jane, listen to me now. You must leave this place. It ain't no place for a nice English lady, here now. I gon' leave if I was you. As we Creoles say, faut pas m'arrêter avec saucisse.
Which means in the Louisiana French Creole, don't tie up the hounds with sausages.
And also sometimes we say, bon ton fait crapaud manquer bunda. Well, this one I translate. Idleness leaves the frog without buttocks. You understand what I'm saying?
Miss Jane did not understand.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
But she understood one thing. Something fishy was going on, and it didn't come from the swamp.